Well, I'll let you know shortly. All right. So we are live.
Kind of.
Kurt, we're back.
Yo,
Your
what's
show,
up?
Your show, boss.
Welcome back to Ike Live. We've been having a great time
That's right.
with yours truly, Brian the Carpenter,
Kurt the Dove.
Rich back here,
The Rizz.
the Rizz. Where he's got the mystery tackle box, Schmedium. Have you shown out the Schmedium yet?
Hold on, let me get in there on that Schmeeds.
There you go.
The Schmedium.
Look at him. Yoked. Jacked.
And if you watch the previous segment of the show, Mike and Pete are still duking it out at the bar.
Welcome back to Kurt Live. It's awesome.
My 5 seconds of fame on this platform, at least.
All right, I want to welcome everybody back. I hope you're having a wonderful Monday night. I know if you're watching this, you hate football, and that's okay.
Gotcha.
But, you know, the great thing about this show, Pete, is that you don't have to just watch it live, right? We're archived. We're on iTunes. We're on Stitcher.
We're soon to be on Waypoint TV.
Soon to be on Waypoint TV.
What?
Of course, you can always go to IkeLive.com and watch all these shows all the way back to number 1, which I don't recommend because it was terrible.
It was terrible.
It was really bad. But
Awful.
But do you want to Brian? You want to let everybody know who the first guest was on Ike Live?
Ed Bassmaster.
Ed Bass. Was
Yeah.
Ed the first? He was the first.
I think
Or was
so.
Trent Cole?
No, Trent was like 2 or 3.
Oh man, we had some
And we
great
weren't
guests
ready.
early on.
We weren't ready.
We weren't ready.
Uh-uh.
It was terrible.
We did half the show and we weren't live. The second half and we weren't live.
Pre-recorded Ike Live.
I don't know if it's even recorded.
Wow, it's unbelievable.
Right now?
Let me remind everybody, if you're watching, we're going to be announcing the winner just in probably about 15 or 20, 30 minutes here.
15, winner of what?
Of the lake.
Oh,
Do we do that?
sure.
We do?
Yeah.
All right, we're going to be
Do it
announcing
now.
the winner of the Like and Share Facebook contest
Get up, Ronald.
here in about 20 or 30 minutes. Also, remind you, if you've
share
got
that, John.
questions for anything you heard tonight, or if you've got questions for Kurt, we still got him here on the couch, hit us up on the IM.
Yeah, be the first one to send in a question for me.
The Rizz is sitting on him back there. He's sitting. He's waiting.
There have been questions.
He's waiting in anticipation.
I forget what they were.
There
There was definitely questions.
The other thing I want you guys to hold on for is we're going to be doing an MTB unboxing here in a little bit, Pete, which is going to be neat. We can get Kurt involved in it since he's on the couch, too.
You know what was interesting about the mystery tackle box? This is really cool. I stayed with John Cox this past week at the Open.
Yeah, how was that?
Yeah, he's awesome.
Been staying with John Cox.
I mean, and then I'm a little bit interviewed him a little bit, and got to hang out with him and his family a little bit, and he's awesome. But the point that I wanted, the mystery tackle box
Did you guys
came
talk
up.
about me out fishing them at all? That had to come up.
No, we didn't discuss that.
Damn it.
But the
And I didn't even need a Senko.
I was talking about crankbaits because I was really catching them at practice. The smallies, I was cranking them pretty good. And the, he's like, he said something to the effect, I might be paraphrasing wrong, but I've never caught a fish on a crankbait.
Wow.
Right. And you're like a massive fisherman like that with, mega wins, super
Yeah.
talent.
Yeah.
But he's focused on his wheelhouse so much so that he doesn't crank very much.
Wow.
But he's like I got this crankbait, and he brings it out. It's a square bill. It's like a Lucky Craft, It's a good, it looks like a perch color. And I'm like, I got one of those out of my last mystery tackle box. He goes, that's where I got mine.
Wow. John Cox, MTB
Yeah.
fan. How about that?
Trying to
MTV guy.
diversify his portfolio.
Wow. Trying to get better.
Yeah.
Got some questions for Kurt.
Learn new tactics.
Garrett Rockamore wants to know if Kurt was at ICAST 2019.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. You know
Was
Garrett.
there. I do know Garrett. Hey, Garrett, what's up, dude?
What up?
Florida Hammer, big bass specialist.
Nice.
Wow.
The Rocker.
Wow. All right. Now, I want to, Brian DeCarver, is it okay if I talk to Kurt about some other stuff?
All right.
You have some stuff. All right. I do want to get into something else. We mentioned, Pete, Kurt, you guide on Amistad.
I do a little
A
bit.
little bit of guiding.
Yep.
on Lake Amistad.
We're giving away 3 or 4 trips tonight.
Giving away 3 or 4 trips tonight based on this word that you've said
per segment.
over and over
I haven't
tonight.
said it yet.
I haven't said it yet.
Has there been 0?
There hasn't been 0.
There
But
has.
it's not been impressive.
This was supposed to be something you say like every 10 minutes.
Well, you throw me in the room of wolves, and I tend to clam up. A little bit.
All right, let me try to get you to say this word. You ready?
Yeah.
Are you a finesse fisherman?
Sure. Yeah.
Do you power fish?
Yes,
Do you like fishing deep?
I do.
Do you fish in windy conditions?
100%.
Bam!
Well, the BAM gave it away, Brian, the
Sorry.
carpenter. Why'd you ban that shit?
One.
Shout out to Founders.
One. Oh yeah, we'll drink to that.
We'll drink to that. Sorry about that.
All right. Now,
100%.
now that we know the magic word, I do want to get back to you do a little guiding in Amistad.
Yeah.
You live in that part of the country.
Yep.
I want to talk about something. I want to flush this out a little bit, get your opinion on it. Pete, jump in on it too. Lake Amistad at one point in time was absolutely the best lake, not in the country, in the world
Agreed.
for bass fishing. Dude, the first time I went to Amistad, the first time the elites went there, you could go down the bank and practice and catch them on anything you wanted, from a foot to 100 foot. I never saw anything like it. I never experienced a fishery that good.
Right.
The elites go there several times, 2, 3, 4 times, and expose this fishery that is the best in the world for bass at that point in time. Lake Amistad's never the same. I can mention it to Falcon, Gunnersville, Champlain, Thousand Nine. I can go over and over on
Maybe
these
Mille
places.
Lacs.
Mille Lacs, where these big tournament circuits, whether it's FLW, the elites, Major League Fishing, whatever, they expose these fisheries, and then it's almost like they're ruined, right?
Dude, you ruined fishing in Jersey.
I ruined fishing in New Jersey. I'll take credit for the whole state.
I blame you.
Do you? What do you? Give me your philosophy on that. How do you feel about that? Because that's a place that you live. It's your home. You make a living there. I mean, what?
So I moved there after we fished that first elite there in
Yeah.
2006.
Yeah.
And we have actually, since those elite tournaments, 6, 7, 8, and 9, those 4 years, 2006 through 2009, we had those elite events there. We have had a spike in excellent fishing since then.
Yeah.
2011 was off the chain. Phenomenal. Maybe not quite as good as 05, 06 time frame,
Yeah.
07, but very, very good. 27 pounds to win, 30 pounds,
Wow.
Was there.
Yeah.
You needed 24 to cash a check,
Wow.
so really good fishing. It's the ebb and flow of the condition of the lake and the river over there. It's the Rio Grande. Most of the water comes out of Mexico. It doesn't come down the Rio, in full force.
Right.
Once the water comes out of Elephant Butte, it gets to El Paso and it's gone. Right? I mean, there's really not much flow once you get past El Paso, and then you've got some rivers that come in from the Mexican side that really are what feed Lake Amistad. That and the Pecos, comes in. And of course, it's got the Devil's River on the Texas side that comes in the lake. So, I think overall it's the grass. As we know in a lot of fisheries, if you lose a high percentage of grass,
Yeah.
it affects the fishing.
Right.
And in 2014, we lost a ton of water and basically annihilated the grass.
You had low water.
Low water. We lost, I can't remember the stats. It's been, a little while now, but I'm going to say 55 feet in 15 months.
Yeah.
Something ridiculous, about 3 foot or more per month.
Yeah.
And so that really hurt the fishing there. And so I haven't lived there my whole life, but there's those ebb and flows, and I think you see that in all fisheries. You look at Oneida right now.
Yeah.
It's not fishing. It used to be everybody had 5. It was a done
Yeah.
deal. I remember the first day of the tournament Pete just fished, there was 100 people that didn't have a limit. 100 people did not have limits in that. So I think it's some ebb and flow, and it's weird. Sometimes you wonder where the fish population came from. In 2017, that spring, we had a great year.
Right.
It was awesome, really good. In 2018, not so great. 2019 has been a little tough. 2020 could be off the chain again.
So you think it's more of a natural
Yes.
cycle of the lake versus the major tournament circuits expose it and permanently ruin it?
Yes, because we haven't had any major tournaments since 2011, and it was awesome in 2011.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, I think it's a natural deal, specifically with the ebb and flow of lake level there, and the cover that provides the forage base for the bass.
Yeah. I don't know. I agree with that. I think there's a lot of natural ebb and flow, but my analogy is Lake Champlain, and I remember Lake Champlain before bass went there at the top 150s,
Mm-hmm.
before any major tournament circuit went to Lake Champlain, and dude, it was the most unreal fishery
Did
I've
we
ever.
rent it 6, 12, 14 footers with a 9.9 on the
Yeah,
back?
it was the most unreal fish. I mean, it was if
And
you
caught
didn't if you
100.
didn't catch 100 in a day, there was something wrong.
Right.
You know, and I find it hard to believe, and it's still a great fishery.
Yeah.
Lake Champlain is still unfucking real.
Yeah.
But I find it hard to believe that exposure to the world of Lake Champlain didn't bring it down from where it was in the late 80s and early 90s.
Sure.
You know,
sure.
when we fished it. It had to have some effect, Pete.
I think it does have some effect, but here's the thing: we are exposing it, like it's getting more pressure. But like Lake Champlain, I go there, and I would guide up there. As of the last few years, I haven't, but previous years I did a lot of guiding up there, and I'd go there in July and August, and I'd be there on a Saturday, launching at a pretty significant launch ramp on Lake Champlain, and I'm the only bass boat
In a non-tournament week.
in
you're saying.
non-tournament week.
Yeah.
It's so far out of the way that it's not really getting the pressure. It's hard for me. I know there's some fisheries that really can't take the pressure. Champlain seems to be one of them. What is the cycle there? I don't know. I'm on a Lake Champlain newsletter, and they're constantly talking about water quality and the farming and water, the storm runoff that's going
Right.
into the lake, how it's affecting the forage base, what's happening there. I think there's a lot going on in that capacity that might be hurting it. How is Amistad like here? Let me say this: Okeechobee got
Yeah.
more exposure than any place on planet Earth. You go there on a Tuesday, and you got to wait in line an hour to launch your boat at any launch ramp. It gets more pressure than
It's
anything
one of the most iconic bass lakes
in
in
on
all
the
the
planet.
world. Yeah.
And yet it still is going to take 30 pounds sometimes to win a tournament there. It'll take the catches are always amazing.
Yeah, but
Not always.
you
It
got
has
you got to
downtime.
you got to balance that with technology. You cannot say that the catches are going up and not consider that the massive advances in technology, information sharing, the ability to find fish offshore like never, ever, ever, ever before. Kurt talks about these kids just getting waypoints and not really learning how to fish.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a huge factor.
Yeah.
I agree.
Well, I don't know. So what do you think, Mike? What's your opinion? You think the tournaments actually
Oh, yeah.
significantly impact the
I
waterway?
think it's a combination.
I got one
don't-
for you.
Yeah.
I got one for you. Let's take Thousand Islands,
Yeah.
St. Lawrence River.
Yeah.
In the late 90s, early 2000s,
That
15 pounds is a good
that
bag.
one got better.
Matter of fact, a lot of guys were targeting largemouth only to win events.
Oh, yeah.
during
I remember those
times.
days.
Yes. So
The rat.
15 pounds is a
Yeah.
great bag. Those
Yeah.
smallmouth.
Gobies.
Yeah.
Then you had an environmental change.
Yeah,
that
gobies and
changed the
zebra
fisheries,
mussels. Yeah.
Right? And now we've been crushing that joint.
Crushing them.
Crushing the
them.
joint, but it holds true.
Yeah. I don't know. I'd be curious to see what happens at a place like Thousand Islands in the next couple of years.
Yeah, yeah.
St. Clair is another great example. St. Clair, dude, they go up there and butcher them every year.
Yeah.
When I say butcher, I mean tournaments that are there in the summer where they're keeping them and releasing them. And after a 100-boat tournament, you go out there the next day and there's floaters everywhere. And that place seems like it holds up. So maybe there's not a magic formula.
Yeah, I
But-
think it depends on the water. The Hudson River, I remember when Roland Martin won the Hudson River back in the 80s. And that was before I started tournament
That
fishing.
was
But
before memory.
yeah, well, the
For memory.
I mean, Jesus.
That's early.
Right. Rizz was not on the earth yet at that time.
Exactly.
But the
Rizz wasn't even a spermazoa yet.
Right.
But I remember my mentor Snyder, right, Rich. He said the Hudson River was never the same after that tournament. And before that tournament, they would catch 50 and 100 largemouth a day. They would,
because nobody bass fished it. No one bass fished
nobody
it
except
then.
for the clubs, and it was so famous. And I mean, they just smashed them to pieces. It was such a great fishery. And then since they came way back then, it was never the same. And it's had flurries where it comes back, but I tend to go the cycle. I think things are
natural
cyclical
cycle. Yeah.
because I've gone to the Hudson and I guided up there occasionally, and I've gone up there years where I haven't been there for a couple years, and I'll take a client up for a couple days and we'll struggle, and then I'll do it 2 years later and we will unload on them, and we'll do it. And then now, as of recent, the largemouth for whatever reason are just haven't been there, but the smallmouth have exploded.
Yeah.
So it's there's natural cycles. I say natural. I think there's a lot of man-made influence that's affecting these cycles.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stormwater contamination. There's a lot of runoff. It's getting into these waterways. It's creating algae blooms. It's making fish kills down on the Chesapeake. It's happening all over. It's the forage base is changing. The invasive species are moving things around a lot.
Yeah.
So there's a lot going on that's in flux. So we're seeing these surges and reductions in fish populations. But the smaller waterways like the Hudson, I think, are they can't handle the fishing pressure. I think
Right.
that these grassy lakes can, like the the Great Lakes, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
St. Clair, you've got acres and acres and acres of fish, schools of fish, so they can hold up a little bit better. But the smaller waterways,
I wonder
get
how much
impacted.
the catch and kill versus the catch and release has to do with it as well. Because I can remember at Amistad, there were a few years there where I remember practicing. And that one main ramp, they had like fish cleaning station. I remember seeing, oh, dude, it was insane.
Bad.
And it was like every license plate that I saw was from the Midwest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, I swear to you, they were all like
Don't they have filet of fish out
Ohio and I mean, I'm like
Iowa. Yeah,
like, why y'all
Kansas.
coming down here to murder these fish, man?
You're seeing it. You see it up in upstate New York too. Like you go stay at Thousand Islands at one of those camps, and you go out to launch your boat, and it's just like you see down at the ocean where you got bluefish carcasses filleted.
Yeah.
You see smallmouth fillets,
Oh,
largemouth fillets, just
the head and the spine,
the head and the
two
spine,
fillets cut off,
then
of it.
chunked into the water.
Wow.
And that's going on there. It's I rented a house up on Oneida just this past week, and they rent to meat hunters. They come to Oneida, and that's why I can't catch anything there, because the
number 7 tonight, by the way.
100%.
That should be the context.
It should have been.
She was talking about a 6 or 8 pound smallmouth that they filleted up, and she was showing how big it was. They were there to catch walleye, pickerel, bass, whatever they could catch.
It didn't matter.
They went up there for a week and caught and ate everything that they caught. So it's still real prevalent. But the catch and release principle, I mean, it has really tremendously helped. Imagine what it was, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, compared to what it is today. It's dramatically changed things.
By the way, Lenny Baird on Facebook says they still eat a black Senko on the Hudson.
Yeah. not anymore after you said that, Lenny.
And the chestnuts.
All the fishing pressure is going
to the chestnuts. Rizz, what do you got?
I got one for Kurt. Came in on the message board from Pops,
Pop.
and he wants to know, late in the summer when the fish have been beat on all year, is it better to fish fewer spots slowly or to work fast and cover more water?
My strategy is to work fast, cover more water. That time of year, it seems like the fish become smarter than me. I just want to find the dumb ones. That time of year, I want to look for the active fish that are still willing to come out and play. And I feel like if I sit in an area and I spend a lot of time there, if they've seen it once or twice and they're just staring at it, they're just going to keep staring.
Yeah.
You can try some different things, throw some reaction baits, and that can trigger a bite or two. But I think overall, that time of year, fish generally scatter anyway, so it's harder to find a group of fish. And so by moving fast and covering a lot of water, you're going to have a better chance to catch more fish throughout a day.
That's a good strategy.
Yeah.
Real good strategy.
I would agree.
I would agree, too. I would agree 100%. Dude,
Ding.
Dude, I miss. I was thinking back at Amistad. Man, I was some of the most fun experiences fishing I've ever had.
Is that still your biggest? You caught a giant.
The biggest fish I ever caught in my life came from practice the first year I fished there, which was, what year was that? 2006. 6.
Yes.
The year-ish one.
Yes.
And then like a year or two later, I think it was 2 years later, because then Remitz won, right?
Remitz won year 2.
Year 2. So it wasn't that year, but then the following year, I caught a 12-13 the first day of the tournament. And that's my biggest bass ever in a tournament.
Nice.
So Amistad, man, has two of the biggest moments of my career came from Amistad. It's pretty cool. It's a special lake, man.
Also, first MLF lake.
First MLF lake?
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Have you been back for a while?
Since that MLF event, and that was probably 7 years ago. It was the last time I fished Amistad. So I'd like to go back.
Yeah.
I'd like to go back. We would always stay at that houseboat. I can't remember. There was some houseboat rentals.
Forever Resorts, no longer available.
It was so cool.
Yeah, it was
We'd
nice.
stay at a houseboat. We'd pull the bass boats up next to the houseboat, and you plug in right there.
Yeah.
It's a short idle around. But I'll never forget the 1 year we stayed there. So it was Johnny Cruz, Ish Monroe, and me staying at this houseboat. So we literally would pull our boats up either parallel to the houseboat, or we'd find a slip or just an empty spot on the dock. And that's where we'd park the boat and we'd charge it at night. And the one day I came back and there was this lady that was staying there. She was either in a houseboat or she had another pleasure boat tied up to the dock. And this is back even before big major wraps. And I was working with Dick's Sporting Goods at the time. And it was one of the first boats I ever had wrapped, and it had a Dick's logo really big on the side. And she's rabid that we have to move this boat. She's so flustered and upset. You gotta move it. God, who owns the Dick S boat? You have to move the Dick S boat. And Becky was there too. Becky was there, and Ish and Johnny were all looking at each other. And dude, we just started laughing in her face. I felt so bad for this poor lady.
Like, what do you say? She couldn't read
I
it.
felt so bad. She wanted me to move the Dick S boat.
Hang on a minute. I'll get my dick out of your way.
Unbelievable, man.
Excuse me while I whip this out.
Unbelievable. But it is a special lake. It still is a special lake. It's a really amazing lake. Lake Amistad. Falcon Lake, too. I'd have to put Falcon Lake in that category.
Everybody wanted to go. It was like rampant through the whole fishing community. We all wanted a vacation there, and it's not that way. Like it doesn't. You're not seeing that anymore. You're not seeing these massive weights. Of course, the tournaments haven't been there for a while.
Yeah. It's
We've had some
cool.
AAA events there recently. Weights, not really strong. But the great thing about Amistad is you catch a lot of fish. You still catch tons of fish.
Yeah.
And mysteriously, like in 2008, these big ones just start showing up. You're like, where do these dudes come
Yeah,
from?
are they out in the middle just roaming, or what are they?
That's the $1 million
Wow.
question, right? But yeah, they just show up, and then you just start jacking them for 6-8 months, and then they'll tend to fall off. At least they have the last couple of years. But I want to go back real quick to Pete's statement about thinking that outside environmental things having big effects, whether it's maybe you had a heavy rain at Champlain and there's big farm runoff or things like that. I think the same thing happens at Lake Amistad.
Mm-hmm.
We get low and we don't have a lot of rain, and they flush some water in from some lakes in Mexico that might have high iron or mining lakes or
Right.
things such as that nature. I think that plays a huge effect on lakes
Sure.
throughout the country.
Right.
You see Okeechobee, you talked about that earlier. You had the cane last year, and it hurt it bad, and you hear some things starting to improve.
Blue-green
down there.
algae.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that. I want to change topics, and I want to make sure I talk to you about this, Kurt, because I think there's some interesting stuff here. And Pete, listen to me. Ready? Watch my lips. Brian and Carver, I want to say it right now.
Black Senko.
Hayabusa.
Oh.
Hayabusa.
Hayabusa.
You hear that? Because I
Busa.
wrote it. I wrote it the way it sounds over here. Kurt, I want to talk to you a little bit about Hayabusa,
You bet. Yeah.
USA.
Yes.
It's cool. You know, the general public looks at a product like that, and they don't see the process of it, how it comes. You know, product comes from Japan, comes to the United States, gains popularity. You know, the marketing message, the pro staff. You got to be involved in this
Yes.
from a pretty early point with this company. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, almost from the very beginning. I actually had a friend that I fished a PAA Corporate Cup with back in '07 on Pickwick Lake, and he went to the University of North Texas. His name is Manny. Yosuke is his Japanese name. He goes by Manny here in the U.S.
Manny! Shout out to Manny.
Yeah, what's
Manny.
up, dude? And so Manny asked me to be involved as he became part of Hayabusa USA, just out of our friendship and previous connections with you know, common relationships.
Yeah.
And as Pete mentioned earlier, relationships huge important, especially in a small
Yeah.
industry like this. So they were selling a few hooks on Tackle Warehouse.
Yeah.
In the States. I think they had maybe 4 or 5 different models. Sales were fine, but you know, there was no promotion, no marketing, no push to really capture
Right.
you know, some customers in the USA market. And so I was hired on to assist with that process and assist in the development primarily of sales.
Right.
In starting to work with more distribution, more rep groups, you know, wholesalers, and the whole behind-the-scenes process of essentially launching a company that existed and was very popular, and actually the saltwater market here in the U.S. was already founded and strong at that
Right.
time. But it was pushing this freshwater market into a new realm, you know,
Yeah.
trying to create that process. And yes, it's been awesome to be a part of. Admittedly so, I knew a good bit going in and had a good foundation.
Yeah.
But I have broadened my horizons tremendously from this experience. And really understand the process, as you mentioned earlier, Mike, from bringing this Japanese hook company into the United States, understanding the distribution, the network of sales, and then, you know, highlighting the marketing aspect and the branding of that, so that the consumers understand your product and,
Yeah.
and can find it out there in these channels of sales.
Yeah.
So,
And that's a tough market too. You know, it's not like
it's crowded.
It's
No
crowded.
kidding.
I mean, it's not like you've got like a widget that no one else has, and you bring it to the United States.
It's not a
and,
whopper plopper.
yeah, yeah. Like that's a lot easier sale,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But you know, now you've got another hook company, and you've got to figure out a way to separate yourself from the powerhouses, the Eagle Claws, the Trocars, the Gamma. You know, you have to figure it. Yeah,
there's VMCs.
that's
I mean,
a tough road.
It is.
Yeah.
And it's been fun to travel.
Yeah,
And we've been making some inroads.
Yeah.
And it's purely because I honestly believe we have a very good product.
right.
Engineering specific. I think all of fishing becoming more technique specific.
Right.
From reels, you know, from your 10 to 1 gear ratio reels and 5s and 6s and
Specializing.
7s and 8s
Yeah.
and then, you know, to your rods and your action and
Yeah.
your composite rods, and you know, all this is becoming so technique specific because it's, you know, every fish becomes so important.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you catch one additional fish and you're going to the classic, and
Yeah.
you lose that fish and you're not, or you're going to the red crest or the cup or whatever it is.
Right.
And so that's really what Hayabusa's focus was from the beginning.
Yeah.
Technique specific engineering to you know, attract the angler, the distinguished angler that wants to be successful.
Yeah. And that is, you know, we talk about it at Bass University all the time. Hooks and terminal tackle tend to get overlooked for the other stuff. You know what I mean? You look at the crankbait, the spinnerbait, it's
Yeah,
flashy.
the big sexy.
Yeah, it's big,
Yeah.
it's flashy, you know, and then, you know, really the hook, dude, it's the most important thing because it's what you know, puts that fish in the boat.
It's
and
your connection to
it's
the
your
fish.
connection to the fish, and you tend to forget about that a little bit sometimes.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't. It's really the most important
Well,
thing.
you got to look there first, right? If your strike to catch ratio is suffering, right?
Yeah.
If you're setting the hook and that fish isn't getting in the boat
Yeah.
a lot of the times, the hook's got to be the first place that you look. I mean, you got to
Right.
look a lot of places. You got to look at your hook set. You got to look at your line, your rod, your reel, all that stuff. But man, you got to look at the hook first.
Just
Yeah.
like Seth talked about earlier. He's using a hook right now. He's got some extreme confidence in. It's doing something he feels like isn't, another hook wasn't doing for him.
Right.
Mhm.
And that is part of that whole process. I think another thing is, I remember back in the 90s, even the 80s, it was change your line, right? I mean, that
Yeah.
was the trend.
Yeah.
You change your line after every day of an event. Like, yeah, man, this 15-pound test mono back then, right? It was all mono. I got to change it. It gets, spirals in it, squirrely, get nicks, the whole gamut. When I started first with Hayabusa, you don't think about those things, but then you really dive into this whole deal, and as a real piece of your set of equipment, man, for a long time I used a hook too much.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like a knife. If you cut open
Yeah.
50 boxes, dude, it's dull. You need to
Right.
get it sharp.
Right.
So you catch 7, 8, 10, 15, 20 fish. Every hook set, that thing is getting
Right.
a little. So you need a really sharp hook, something that's durable, but at the same time, you need to manage your equipment properly to have that success
Right.
as well.
Yeah. I'd agree with
Hooks
that.
bend open, they flex.
Sure.
And every time you bend it back, it weakens the metal. You got to be aware of that. So if now if you get that 6-pound bite, you could be somewhat compromised.
Yeah.
And I change hooks. I mean, I keep packs of replacement trebles.
Yeah.
And you got to stay on top of it. It is the most important thing.
Yeah.
The trend in America is to use the stiffest hook you've got.
Yeah.
I want this bulky hook.
2X, 4X,
Yeah, yeah.
6X.
Yeah, and very seldom is that the right choice.
Right.
Very seldom is that the right
Right.
choice.
Yeah, I agree.
Most
Yeah.
often, it's not the
Yeah.
right choice.
Right. I'd agree with that.
It's funny with hook size too. I like the small. The trend is also bigger. But I like a lot of the treble hooked baits that I find the smaller hooks actually increase my strike to catch ratio.
On a Senko?
On
On a black Senko.
What size treble hook you use?
the number 6 treble in a regular it was funny like 2 hours ago. You burned this up 100%. I find like that regular gauge smaller hook keeps those fish pinned better on certain baits.
Yeah.
But it's all, like I said, you got to measure your strike to catch.
Yeah.
If your strike to catch is high and you're landing the majority of those fish, you don't change.
Yeah.
But like I said, I go against the grain. And it's funny, I was talking with Seth about that same exact thing, and talking about those smaller trebles, how powerful they are at actually keeping fish pinned a little bit better than the bigger hooks are.
Yeah. Well, I
But-
used it in that last Major League Fishing event that I fished, the the red-breasted sunfish. I actually caught a lot of my fish on a really little finesse jerkbait, and I was using number 8s.
Number 8s.
Number 8s. And I had a really good bite to land ratio. Really good. Decent.
8s?
8s.
That's tiny.
8s,
So,
baby.
well, this is an important question. When Tex is rigging a black 5-inch Senko, what would be the Hayabusa hook of choice?
Well, it depends. What kind of cover are you fishing, Pete?
Grass.
Well, I'm
Grass.
I'm Texas rigging it in
Right.
grass and wood.
Grass and so I actually think that there's some, if it's heavy cover, I like the EWG style, the wide gap.
Okay.
Right, because a lot of the straight shank stuff, as you start pulling it against some heavier cover, it exposes that hook and you start getting snagged a lot. So I think the wide gap is really the way to go in the really, really heavy cover. Now that doesn't always give you the best hookup because of the way the hook is designed, right? But it's always going to come through the cover most effectively. Then, as you get into maybe some lighter cover or working your bait a little bit slower, then I would go to the round bend offset. Then, if you go into flat, no cover, or you're winding a bait or moving it over top of stuff, then I go the straight shank.
Wow.
Yeah.
You got the model numbers for that?
I do. That would be the straight shank is the FPP straight, and the worm hook with the offset round bend is going to be the WRM 114. We have this number system, so that it's pretty cool. And then the final one would be the WRM 959 as the wide gap. That's the thick wire because you're heavy cover, probably using heavier line. If you're casting long distance, you want to go with medium wire, which is the 956.
Well, here's something else
He's
interesting.
the hook master.
Brian the Carpenter.
It's important.
I want you to listen to this. Rizz, listen to this. Eric the intern, if you're watching, you probably are. I want you to listen to this too.
Yo-wee.
Gray Buck using Hayabusa. Sorry.
Think of Halloween.
I know.
Think of Halloween.
Gray Buck using it in the last tournament.
Yes.
Using the Ned head.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about that. 'Cause
Yeah.
that's interesting.
I saw you had a wire on, or
It has a guard. It has a fiber guard. Yeah.
Dual fiber guard.
Dual guard.
Yeah, it's got a dual guard.
So like a Metlock jig.
It's very similar to
Wow.
a Metlock. It doesn't come out of the same hole as the Metlock. It actually comes out of two separate places on the lead head. And but yeah, it has a dual fiber weed guard. Gray used that same hook to finish second place at the FLW Tour event at Cherokee this past spring, and then he exposed the 1/0, which we had came out with a little, the Ned rig craze is getting bigger. Not just bigger as far as more people using it, but the size of people of the lures, size of the hooks is tending to increase. So we came out with a 1/0, and he used the 1/0 1/10 size there at
1/10
at Oneida.
10.
Yeah, 1/10.
So what do you think leads?
Yeah.
What is the cause for this Ned rig craze? Just the need to throw something stupider than a Senko?
Fish bite it.
They need to put fish on the scale.
Yes,
is what it is.
Dude, the Ned rig is
Pressure.
the spy bait of bottom fishing.
Yeah.
It really is.
and more
Because
understandable than the spy bait.
Yeah.
because I think
true.
there's something to
Very
that,
true.
dude. I think there's something to a bait that does nothing, a bait that has no action. There's something to that, man.
Well, it's clear. I mean,
I know. I'm telling you, there's something to it.
you used it, and guys been using it to win big. And that's the thing that this is the misconception, I think, like from guys like Brian, is you think it's like it's a bait to catch a fish, like a 12-inch fish when you need to, but it's really a bait that can put you in the winner's circle.
Pete, I'll Ned circles
and has
around
done
you, boss.
and has
go.
done a lot with it.
You hear me?
Yeah.
But I hear you jabbering back
I'll
there.
Ned
but,
circles around you.
we talked about that hook when we were at ICAST.
Yes.
When
Yeah,
we
we sure did.
we did an interview for Bass TV, and I don't think we've launched that one yet. So we're going to be launching that one pretty soon.
That's a good one. Need to launch it. All right, we're talking tackle. We're talking hooks.
Nope.
We got all this conversation. We're going to go ahead right now, Brian Carpenter.
Yes.
We're going to jump into our MTB Mystery
right.
Tackle Box unboxing.
Yeah.
We're going to pass it around the room. We've got here a MTB Pro Box. The black box. That's the one right there. It's fresh. You see the seal, and this is one of my favorite parts of the whole process, Pete. Is that little seal
Trust the
breaking?
process.
You ready? Listen to this. Ready? Ooh.
That was a good one, Mike.
It's like a founder's opening. I love it. We're going to open this thing, and Kurt, we're going to pass it around.
All right.
And I want you to grab something that catches your attention. A lot of cool products in here, and then we'll talk about it. Let's see. All right, I'm going to grab this one. Pete, we'll pass it to you. We'll start talking about this.
What
All
you
right,
got,
Brian
Doc?
the Carpenter.
Yo, what?
This really caught my eye. This is a frog. You know how hot, soft-bodied frogs are in the world today. This is by Lunker Hunt. This is called a Yappa frog.
Yappa.
Okay, but hold on a second. I want you to really take a look at this. All my old school guys are going to like this bait because look at this. It's got a jitterbug cupped mouth on it, Bri. Very reminiscent of the old jitterbug.
Yep.
No.
It's black. Dude, I think this would be a turr at night.
Yeah.
A night fishing bait over the slop. Look
How
at that.
about it? Let's go.
That's cool.
What's the hook like?
The
Crichton's
hooks
out
feels
there in the
decent.
parking lot.
It's pretty soft.
Yeah.
Dude, Yappa frog
We'll
by
throw that in
Lunker
your
Hunt.
backyard.
That is definitely something I wouldn't have bought on my own. I'm glad I got it in this mystery tackle box. That's cool. Might have to test that out back here on the lake.
Yes, tonight.
Maybe tonight.
Could be.
Maybe.
Hey,
You want it?
I saw some.
Boat's hooked up.
Let's do
Plugged
this.
I saw anglers
Dude.
out on Lake X.
Come on. Let's fish.
How about you, Pete? What you got, buddy?
There was two boats out
What?
when I drove by.
All right.
I blame Mike.
I got from Biospawn. This is kind of reminiscent of an auger tail.
Yeah.
Ooh.
You know?
Old school man's auger tail.
Yeah. Remember the auger tail?
Yeah.
And the culprit worm that Brian Kirchhoff used to win the classic.
Hell yeah, red shad.
Yeah. I was just talking about this type of worm with somebody recently. And
Ribbon tail.
we don't
that
throw
worm
it that
got done
much.
this
I mean,
weekend.
it just got phased out with the Senko. And
Senko ruined it.
and that Senko ruined so many baits.
It did.
But that auger tail, that ribbon tail.
I think
Pretty
plastics come back around. Look at Clun. Didn't Clun catch someone a gator tail
yeah,
in his win?
that's
So
right.
there's an old tail style, and there's another one.
Yep,
Big ribbon tail. I like that one.
I'm throwing the ribbon tail.
Very cool. Kurt, what do you got?
Well, I picked out the a bait from Booyah.
Booyah! Brian the Carpenter.
They had a-
Booyah!
They had a great commercial one. You better get your Booyah.
Booyah!
You remember that?
No. I remember Pete talking smack on Pradco, but that's it.
I'm booing. Boo.
Pete didn't get paid for Pradco all these years later. He's still mad about it. Come on.
The reason I picked this bait is because of the name.
Boo.
Solid name, bankroll jig.
Bankroll jig.
Yeah, I
Let me
like
see
the-
Can I see the head on that?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I love the name,
That looks
bankroll
like
jig.
that looks like the Ike head,
Dude!
the old man's jig.
Bankroll jig is very stone jig-esque.
Hold on.
Dude!
It's got that flat head, right?
Jig, yeah.
Whoa!
Throwback.
It looks a lot like the old Riverside jig, dude.
Yeah.
Wow.
You take that jig to
What's old is
Louisiana.
new again.
Win a
Wow.
classic.
The bankroll jig.
Bankroll.
I'm back.
The old Riverside jig.
Yeah, you
Tried
remember
and
that?
No.
Bank robbing jig.
Stone jig, Riverside
Yeah. Okay.
jig where had that flat head like that.
It's got that diamond-shaped flathead.
Yeah. Milo special.
Milo. What do you got,
Huh.
I
Cool.
got Big Bite Baits. It's a swim bait.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, like a
it
grass
out of the bag, Ron.
grass pig, like a
Yeah.
skinny dipper style bait.
Yeah,
Oh, snap.
I've actually I've used these before. I've bought these on my own outside of Mystery Tackle Box, and they flat out work. It's
Wow.
it's an awesome bait for the back of a swim jig. It's swim jig specifically. The that paddle tail keeps it pretty tight. It doesn't move a ton through the body, and it gives you a real nice action. I like it.
Good.
Smells good too.
And to finish out the box, we got an old Bagley flat square bill.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Not flat, but a square bill. Look at
Square
that.
bill, little boss of square bill.
Yeah, a little boss square bill, and some Z-Man little turd products.
TRD crawl.
TRD crawl.
Nice.
I don't know
Little
how that
Netty.
made it all
Talking
the way
about the
back here.
Neds.
Yep.
The Ned Crawl.
And some 4-aught EWG.
And some Yoat
Style
EWG hooks.
The Yoat hooks.
Yeah.
That's nice.
That's a hell of a box.
These would be good for
Solid.
a 5-inch black Senko.
How about it, Pete?
Dude, that's what we should have tracked. You know how many times we said 5-inch black Senko tonight?
And didn't even get a dime for it.
That box was very diversified.
Yeah,
That was
that was a
pretty-
good
that was
box.
a good box,
Great
dude.
box. They're always great boxes.
Yeah, that was a good one.
The pro boxes, they got them.
I'm honestly I'm putting this little froggy in my box. I am. I'm taking this one.
There's always something in there that
Anything.
is added to my arsenal. You know, there's a few baits that I've utilized. You know,
Yep.
in derby situations, they turn out to be good ones that I would have never tried.
Derby.
Is the tick hole still kicking?
Dude, the tick hole
Mike ruined it.
Oh, jeez.
the tick hole got ruined.
That sucks.
It was exactly what we were talking about. But the tick hole we ruined on our own. That was self-inflicted.
We ruined it.
I ruined it. Because we started doing videos,
You
YouTube
started.
videos
You
there.
exposed
You
it.
started.
And dude, I don't know, but there was enough landmarkers
They
that
found
People
it.
figured
people
it
found
out.
it.
Ah.
People found it.
I don't know how you're trudging through these reeds that are like 5
It's
feet
crazy.
tall.
It's crazy. I wish that place was still the same. I took Marizo Shimizu there, probably what was it, 4 or 5 years ago.
When we had him on the show.
Yeah, yeah, maybe 4 or 5 years ago we went up there
Zero.
and we probably caught 20 apiece,
Did you?
but like literally a quarter of what we caught
to do.
when it was the deal.
Ruined.
You know, still a good day, but it wasn't.
I have dreams about that place.
Yeah. And the other thing is, you talk about exposing versus environmental. Dude, remember when we fished it? We had a lot of high water. You know, there were high water years, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a canal that runs through these ponds, and the canal's man-made, and used to pull. What was the peat? Is it peat?
Peat moss.
Peat moss. They
Yeah.
used to pull out of there
Okay.
Peat Klusic.
for heating back in the day.
Peat moss.
They
bitches.
literally, there's a road, this man-made canal, and they would harvest this peat. They'd pull it out on a raft with a mule, you know, pulling it on out of there. And
Pete's
dude,
mule.
that canal had 2-3 foot of water on it, flowing all the time. And the last couple times we were up there, it was almost stone dry. The ponds themselves were lower. The creek had no water in it. The fishing hadn't been as good.
So stop
you know?
going there, everybody.
Yeah, stop going to the tickle, everybody. Please. Let off the tickle.
How do you know it's been ruined? Like just because the fish catches down, or you see people when you go there?
Fish catches down. The other one is the last time we were there, the grass, you see trails through the grass that were never there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You see like fishing line and like a wrapper here and there. Never saw that.
Yeah.
So it's it's gotten pressure.
Like mumble rat.
Yeah. How many people have kept fish? You know, it's hard to say.
Yeah.
You know, but it was an amazing
Tickle.
place.
I've never been.
Yeah. There's a new
What?
tickle. You know where it's at?
I know it's up
Right
north.
near Mike's where Mike lives up there.
Mike.
Naughton.
Oh, really?
Not far from Mike's house.
Is that right?
Very close.
No kidding.
Yeah, very close. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
How's
people-
he doing, by the way?
Anytime you have a secret fishing spot, don't leave trash there.
Don't leave trash.
And don't
Not
tell
cool.
Ike.
Don't tell me.
Don't ever, ever, ever tell Mike or a YouTuber.
Or a YouTuber.
That's a fact.
Have you guys done a show on YouTubers yet?
Yeah.
Have you? I gotta go back in the archives. And watch.
What do you? What's your
I'm a
take?
YouTuber.
Are
check
you?
out, check out my YouTube. I have like 530 subscribers. I just
Pretty
started
good,
it.
man.
That's
Yeah.
that's 529 more than Pete has.
That's not true, actually. I think I have 1,500.
Do you?
Solid.
I think I'm in the thousands. I don't remember. I started mine back in 08 or 08 or 09.
Yeah.
And then said there's no future in this.
Yeah, well, I went in a different direction.
In that direction,
You
worked
you
out
got to be
pretty good.
committed. People
Yeah.
committed to it. You make it work.
Yeah. Well, we've got people that, man, it's amazing what these guys have done. You know, the industry hasn't. You know, our industry, like we fight with them. You know, embrace them. It's changing things, but there's million subscribers
Yeah.
to their channels. It's amazing what they've
Crazy.
accomplished.
It's amazing. It's good. It's a good thing for the sport. I think it's getting new people involved.
Yeah.
As long as you're getting kids fishing, it's a good thing, man. It's a good thing.
It's doing that.
All right, Brian the Carpenter. Are you ready? Should we? I think I'm ready. You want to announce one of the winners right now? Or you want to do rapid fire? What are you thinking? I can't hear you. Say it louder.
Oh. Yo, boss.
I can hear you now.
Yeah, I'm trying to access that list of people that shared the live show tonight. I'm seeing 85. Let's give it 5 more minutes. Anyone else want to share this? And share away. I'm going to pull the list and pick a winner here in a second.
Can I give a shout out to some emergency responders?
Absolutely.
Man, we had a hurricane hit the Bahamas, and it was amazing. You know, the work that people have done and continue to do there. But the most recent one that is the ship that listed and
Saw that.
partially sank. What was it, off Georgia or?
Yes, off the coast of Georgia,
And
or in the Sound of Georgia.
They,
like St. Michael's.
they had 4 trapped crewmen
Wow.
in that ship for a day. That was the ship was on fire and partially sunk, and they rescued them.
Wow.
You know,
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Coast Guard.
I'm not sure. Well, the Coast Guard was certainly involved.
Yeah.
You know, I think all facets were involved. Everybody was trying to get in safely, and that was the problem. Is you got a unsafe vessel that's partially submerged, and
Right.
you got fire to deal with, and they were able to get into the engine room and
That's
get those
awesome.
guys out alive. Is amazing. Shout out to you guys.
Big time.
Yeah, I almost sank at Oneida.
What?
Yeah,
Is that true?
yeah.
What do you mean?
I had a Rizz problem on Lake Oneida on day 2.
I want to hear this.
Blue diamond? You need a blue diamond?
Not that kind of problem.
Wait, what now?
Different kind.
Do what now?
Blue diamond?
Different kind of plumbing problem. But these are all related. But the no, I was fishing. You know where you saw me getting photographed on the first day?
Yeah.
Well, I made a quick
Well, if you
pass
get
by there.
photographed, well,
I made a quick pass by there on day 2, and I decided to abandon, that area, run across the lake. But we had some pretty substantial winds.
Yeah.
And the if I had to guess, the wave heights there were 5 feet, ballpark, give or higher or lower. So I had to really beat it across because I was going across and east,
Okay.
like right into the belly of the beast.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I made it through without, I mean, I've done this before, so I knew how to, tack and move through the waves and but I get to where I'm going to start fishing, and I come down off a pad, and 100 gallons of water comes out of my drain hole
Oh yeah.
in the boat.
Yeah.
Just comes surging up, and
Yeah.
we're up to my shins in water in the boat.
Wow.
And I'm like, well, this adds a little complication to the matter. So I decided, okay, well, we got to try to fix this situation. Let me, it wasn't too far till I could get into a protected piece of water. And I went over there, and I get into the protected piece of water, and my bilges are running, and I go back there and look at my bilges, and it's trickling out, just trickling out. And I give this lesson all the time. Like me and Rizz were talking about it. Like, you got to clean your bilge area before the event.
Yeah.
And Rizz was cleaning his out, and I'm like, I'm going in and I'm going to do mine too. And I did. And because you got to get all the worms, the
Broken
black
worms.
Senkos.
Yep.
You got to get all those parts out of your
Number
boat.
17.
And so I'm figuring either my bilge is dying or it's got a clog or something, and I only have one running,
Yeah.
so I'm like, what, come on, man, fishing's tough enough,
Deal
what
with all this other stuff.
I got to deal with this crap. So I'm trying to and finally my bilge catches up, and I don't know if it's my plumbing, if I've delaminated the hull, broke my transom. I don't know where the water's coming from. I don't know why it's there, and so I'm fishing along, and I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do, and I'm like, you know what? It don't matter. It's the water's 70 degrees. I got a life jacket on. My partner's got a life jacket. We're going out into the waves, and we're going to fish, and if I have to fish level flotation, I'm going to fish level flotation. So I run out, and I get out to the next spot, and I'm fishing along, and the water again, it's just filling up my boat, and I'm, because I'm fishing, I'm not really paying that much attention. So what I did, I went to my primary bilge, and I couldn't get to it. The auxiliary bilge, the auto bilge, I have the inline fuses, right? I opened, and the fuse is busted on that one. So I pulled one of my fuses from my battery charger and put it in there, and finally got it to bilge out. And I had a operating, bilge at that point.
And it ran for about 50 minutes.
Until it clogged. It's so, no, but it did run for that long. And I was able to, it took me, this is a long process that I'm going through.
So what was the source of water intrusion?
It was coming over the stern. Like, the waves are so big that, number one, like when I put it on spot lock and you go down, you take 50 gallons, not that many, you take 10 gallons over.
Yeah.
Because you'd nose dive into the waves, you take 10 gallons in the front, and then when you come up on the next wave, you take 5 gallons in the back. 10 in the front, 5 in the back, 10 in the front. And the clogged bilge couldn't keep up.
Right.
So that I was, That was the water infiltration. But I didn't know.
Yeah.
Like I
That
thought
can be a scary thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It can be a very scary thing. You know, you're out there in pretty big water, significant situation. You got to be concerned about your safety and the safety of your partner.
Yeah.
You know, and you're still trying to compete.
Yeah,
But,
it's funny because I always put that spare bilge on the floor when you fish big water events, but you don't expect Oneida to be one of those. You know, it's like Great Lakes, Thousand Islands, Champlain,
Right.
making run the tie. I zip one on the floor and zip tie a hose out that side. You know,
Yeah.
and it goes into my cigarette lighter.
Yep.
But in a place like that, you wouldn't expect to do it. You know,
well, it was an east wind blowing stout.
straight
So
down,
you're coming
straight
at it-
down the lake.
You're right up the lake.
Yeah.
There was no place to escape.
Yeah.
You know, unless you were on the bank.
East wind's tough
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's tough.
out there, real bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I almost sank it. I don't know why I told that story just then.
Win from the east, they bite the
I think
Good
west.
lesson. Keep your head
Yeah.
and look for your resolution.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, most people would not have thought that process out.
Brian,
to-
Brian the carpenter would have grabbed his paddle and started beating on the bilge pumps as hard as he could. Wise God hate me.
A young Brian
Beating on the bilge
certainly
pumps.
would have done that.
Wise God hate me.
Fall upon my knees.
Oh my god.
Tell me I'm wrong. All right.
You ain't wrong.
All right. Brian, let's do rapid fire. This is a fun part of the show.
Do rapid fire.
Okay, here we go.
Do what?
This is a fun part of the show, Kurt.
All right.
And, you know, the rules of Ike Live Rapid Fire are simple. You just got to tell the truth.
okay.
That couch is like, it's like the lasso in Wonder Woman.
It's not like truth or dare or anything.
No, you're lassoed. So, Ike Live
So I
Rapid Fire
can't
questions.
pick like truth or dare.
No truth or dare. These are all going to be true or false
Okay.
or regular answered questions.
All right.
And you have to be as honest as you can.
100%.
And if
It's
you
not
get,
timed.
Yes. And here it goes. If you can get 60% of these questions right, you're a winner. So you don't have to get everyone right. Just got to
Okay.
get 60% right.
With a D average.
Okay. Here we go. And this is the Ike Live Rapid Fire questions for Kurt Doughton. Question number 1. Drum roll, please. True or false? Kurt, you have a dog named Chippy.
That is true.
True, Pete. That's correct. That's correct.
Well done, Kurt.
That wasn't too tough. My ass is sweating in the seat. I'm like, what's gonna happen?
Okay. Question number 2. True or false? Chippy is some sort of Australian shepherd collie mix.
Oh, it's a collie. I think it's just a straight up border collie.
Okay. So would that be true or false?
So I'm gonna say false.
False. That's correct.
Thanks for helping me through that.
That might be correct.
I'm not sure I would have gave him points for that.
It's very well thought out. Well done, Mike.
We're going to change a little bit here. We're going to go to an answered question. Question is, knowing you're a big fan of Prince, why do doves cry?
Because that's the way they show their love. What kind of sound effect was that?
I don't know.
Showing his love.
And that is correct. That is correct.
Who else would know but a dove? How can I be wrong?
Good point. Good point.
What was it like writing a song with Prince?
It did not happen.
That is correct. All right.
100%
Yeah.
so far.
All right.
Bam.
True or false? Chippy is a good boy and fiercely loyal. Just don't turn your back on him or it's your ass.
That is half true and half false. Don't turn your back on her because she will kick your ass, but Chippy is a her.
You had him in the notes.
We didn't cover that part.
Let me tell you, she's like a good woman. She'll let you know when she doesn't want no more.
You're correct on both counts, including the woman.
I've been married a long time, dude. I know that.
All right, true or false? Would you say Chippy is a bit of a psychopath?
That's certainly true. 100%.
True?
True. 100%.
That is correct!
Is this again like a good one? Sorry.
All right. Next question.
Yeah.
Creamy or chunky peanut butter?
Oh, chunky for sure.
Okay.
All right.
That is correct!
I'll take whatever.
You're almost 100% right now.
kicking ass.
You really
I
are.
don't think you got any wrong. Hot sauce or ketchup on your eggs?
Oh, hot sauce all the way.
That is correct!
I like this
As
guy.
well. Can't believe you haven't got a single
You must
one
have
wrong.
surveyed my wife, and we're doing good in the newlywed game or something, right?
Back to Chippy.
Okay.
True or false? Chippy is a rescue and a former member of the Branch Davidian cult.
Chippy is a rescue. I cannot tell you where she came from. Possibly the Davidian cult.
That's true! That's correct!
Knew it.
Wow.
Maybe that's why she's
Sound like a
psycho.
branch of the Royal Rangers.
Damn right.
True. True or false? True or false? Chippy can be seen in FBI photographs still standing by the side of former owner David Koresh as he lay perishing on those blood-soaked grounds of Waco, Texas, next to where Alton Jones lives, back on that fateful afternoon of April 9th, 19th, 1993.
What was the question?
Can Chippy be seen in FBI photographs?
No, that's false.
That's false. That is correct. It's false.
I don't know. I'll go pull some photos. Move on, but I'm a protest.
Okay. All right, just a few more. I promise you, they're going to get better. And this is a great one. What's more annoying, catching drum while fishing for smallmouth? That was A.
That's pretty freaking
B,
annoying.
catching mudfish while fishing for largemouth? Or C, Timmy Horton?
I'm going to go with B.
False.
B,
That's not correct.
mudfish for largemouth. That is false. The answer is actually catching drum. Wow, you got one wrong, Kurt. You're at 90%. You're still winning. You're still winning.
That was only 10 questions?
We got two. We got. Let's see. We have.
I feel like my percentage
We got
is
four
high.
more for you.
Okay, I'm
we got
good.
4 more.
Yeah,
This may be
You're
the
doing
highest.
better than
Dude,
most.
I could just scratch out right now. I'm good.
Yeah.
Flip flops or sneakers?
Oh, flip flops.
That's correct. Yeah, that's true. All right, here's the tough one.
It's true.
This one. Does Scott Martin use bronzer on his sunglass tan, or is it natural?
I'm going to go with bronzer.
That is correct. Scott Martin uses bronzer.
Fun fact. Pat's going to have Scott on Wednesday night.
Wow.
On Straight Cast.
I'll have to ask him that same question.
We should.
Okay. This one's actually a true or false. Kurt, you are a guide on Lake Amistad. Is it true you smuggled growth hormone across the border for Gerald Swindle and Byron Velvick?
Just Byron. I don't know about Gerald. It was just Byron.
That is true! That's true! Wow! I knew it had to come from somewhere.
He tried to trick me. You can tell who was taking that. Come on, man.
I don't think at this point there's a way you could lose, but there's 2 more questions. Is it true you caught your personal best at Amistad on the brand new spider lure introduced at ICAST this year?
That is false.
That is false. That's correct. That lure's
Nobody
never
caught
caught a thing.
that.
It's correct.
The only thing that's called is fishermen.
And last but not least, and this may be the most confusing question of the night, what is featherwick?
That's actually a great question. Bud has probably tried to describe that for you at one time. But that's the great thing about featherwick.
Yeah.
It's so undescribable, you just have to be involved.
It's inexplicable.
Inexplicable.
You can, So there is no explanation for featherwick.
No, it might have to do with the dove thing. Possibly.
Okay. Let me go to my answer sheet. That is correct. Kurt, 90% tonight, everybody. Holy crap! I
Yeah.
think that's the highest point
Unbelievable.
rating we've
That
ever
was.
got. Pete.
Unbelievable.
Yep.
Can you believe that?
No.
And finally,
Well,
the truth about Byron came out.
Well, but I got to protest that Byron question. It was a true or false question. It wasn't partial.
Oh.
Credit. I think we might have to take that one off the table.
Okay.
Based off of Gerald's recent video of breaking a 7.5-foot rod in half, I'm going to go ahead and say it's probably true.
Superhuman strength right there. It's not all deer oats. I can tell you that.
jeez.
It's not all deer.
It's not all oats,
I'm gonna have
man.
to submit some questions for the first show in the next studio.
There's a great compiled list that came from a lot of people. I liked it. That was a good one.
He's going to give us a contract. Prior to my next appearance on Ike Live, I'm going to have to look at the next set.
You got to look at them.
Kurt was telling me how for Bass Edge before the show started, how he submits the questions to the guests the night before.
Yeah.
Gives them time. It's like, yeah, we don't do that.
We're the opposite. We're the opposite, man.
100% opposite.
Oh yeah, we've caught some off guard in this one before, man.
Right.
That's
We've-
the idea.
Really good.
And we're updating 20 minutes before the show.
Glad to be a part of it. Thank you very much.
That was awesome. I'm telling you, that was. I gotta say that's the highest. That's probably one of the highest point ratings. 90%. I can't remember that before. Brian the Carpenter, give us some winners here. I think we're getting to the tail end
Yes.
here. Let's announce some winners.
People,
Rizz, what do we got?
Submit your guess for the number of times Kurt said 100% tonight.
Okay, I
First
want
one on the IM board on the Ike Live show page is going to win. First one to correct answer. While we're waiting, Rich has got the winner on the Facebook like and share.
Okay.
The Facebook like and share winner was for the Ike Live gift bag. Congratulations, CW Barnett.
CW Barnett!
Yeah!
Like and share Facebook winner of Ike Live tonight. CW.
Thank you, CW.
Appreciate that. You're going to be getting your bag in the mail here, hopefully in the next week or two. Not
That's
in the
right.
month.
That's right.
And then right now, while we're waiting, while we're compiling this information, this is your last chance, right, to send in how many times Kurt said 100% tonight.
That's right.
It's your last chance. Chime in on the IMs. First one gets another amazing Ike Live gift bag tonight, Pete. How about that?
It's pretty awesome.
Pretty
Do you
awesome.
feel
We have a winner.
We have a winner.
Already.
Oh,
Yes.
we have a winner?
Yes. 10:30 and 38 seconds. And the winner was Bass Geek.
Bass Geek.
Bass Geek.
Bass Geek. Congratulations.
Three times.
Three.
Only 3 times?
Yes.
Three.
Three.
Very disappointing.
Wow.
Wow.
Three.
Captain
Dude,
Rick
Bri-
Mars gave me some bad intel.
Dude, Brian promised me, it's in the notes, that you'd say it at least 50 times.
Holy
It's
shit.
right here.
No way.
Yes. It says Kurt answers every question with 100%.
Do you feel
With an
uncomfortable
exclamation point.
when you say 100% and it's only like 95%?
No.
Close enough.
Yeah, I'm never wrong. So.
Round
Yeah, man. Well, this has been an awesome show. I got to tell you. Want to remind everybody, if you missed tonight's show, don't worry. Lots of ways to watch it,
If you're
right,
watching
Pete?
and you missed it,
If you watch it and you missed it tonight, you can watch it on IkeLive.com, iTunes, Stitcher, and soon to be. What was the? Where were we at?
Waypoint.
Waypoint TV, soon to be. Very excited about that. That'll be cool. Another venue to get the message
A lot
out.
of people want us to be streaming on YouTube too.
They want
Get
us
that-
to be.
Yeah.
Well, that might be something we could do in the
Yeah.
new studio.
Yeah.
Get things a little fixed up over there and figure it out.
Yeah, we got to figure out a way to end around Facebook.
We do.
It's set up right now where it's an either or.
It's either or.
Yeah, Facebook.
Plus, they're
We can
stealing
do it.
our DNA as we're talking right now. So
And
sure
selling.
they're doing that. It's crazy. Want to thank everybody for watching and listening tonight. It's been a great show. Of course, Kurt Dove tonight
Thank
in
you, Kurt.
studio.
Appreciate you guys having me. Thank you so much. It's been a lot of fun. Yeah.
Kurt, how can people follow you? Look in that camera right there too, and tell people if they want to follow you.
You know, you got the Insta, the Facebook, the YouTube. Kurt Dove Fishing is pretty much everywhere where you're going to find me. Sometimes it's got a dot in there, Kurt Dove dot fishing. But, you know, that's Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Got all my videos, actually, from the FLW Tour this year All the highlights are on YouTube. So if you fish any of the lakes that we fished on FLW Tour this year, you want to go back, see how they were caught at that time of year, because you got an event there next year or something
Review
like that.
the footage.
That's the place to check it out.
I
So,
like it. A little
Yeah.
historical information. What do you got, Rizz?
Before we sign off tonight, I just want to give a shout out to some of the people on the message board that have been hanging out with us all night. We appreciate you guys. You're the best fans in
Yes.
the game, and
Thank you,
we
guys.
just want you to know that. Hanging out with us tonight, we had Bass Geek, Showtime 99, New York Chris, Krusty, Patrick, South Jersey Bowie, Wild Bill, Kane Simpson, Stockel's
Wild
Dead
Bill.
Boat Batteries, Matt from Wisconsin.
Stockles dead boat batteries.
Matt from Wisconsin, Whitfield Fishing, Pops, and many, many more. And guys, if I missed you, I'm sorry, but we appreciate you for being on the show with us tonight.
Yeah,
You're the
thank
best.
you guys. Shout out to Kane Simpson for watching tonight. Also want to thank Cody Huff, Seth Biter, and Ronnie Moore for joining us via
Thank you,
Skype.
guys.
That was awesome. I appreciate that. And what else we got? Pete, you want to last Bash University plug before we go tonight?
It's back to school at Bass University. Go over to bassu.tv and subscribe. Our annual subscribers get 30% off right now. It's the best deal we got.
There you go.
Go check it out.
Brian the Carpenter,
We'll be
too,
live
real
Wednesday.
quick before we sign off.
Oh, yeah.
Yes?
And we are live. Did you just say that?
No, I didn't. I forgot to say that.
We are live this Wednesday at noon. This Wednesday noon, Bass University Live. Pete Glusick,
Is that
GDP.
true?
Greg
GDP.
DePalma co-hosting. I believe we're going to have, you're not going to be
Live
here.
from the water?
No,
from the
live
studio?
live from your house.
Oh, okay.
While you're somewhere else.
All right.
Live from your bedroom, Mike. In
That's
Stockton.
cool. That would be awesome. Oh, dude, that would be so awesome. Please do that.
We are going to have Gray Buck Skyping in,
Yes. Yep.
and we are also going to have.
We're working on getting Dean Sylvester. He'll
Okay.
be Dean right now. He's probably on an airplane or he's at an airport. Yeah, no, he's at the airport because I tried to get him to Skype in tonight, but he was busy. You know, he's on his way to Atlanta and then flying back to Australia to do his thing. But we're going to try to get him to Skype in Wednesday.
We're going to be talking about smallmouth, largemouth, multi-species lakes, how Gray won at Lake Oneida, and all these amazing techniques that
Why Pete loves Oneida.
yeah,
Yeah.
why Pete loves and more Oneida talk. 100%.
Sounds like a good time. 100%. Like
Black
Oneida.
Senko,
Black
100%.
Senko. 100%. Real quick, too, Brian, before we sign off, 2 big October shows coming up, Pete.
Yes.
We got mid-October featuring the Fishing Travelers.
What?
We're going to have anglers from Taiwan,
Yes.
Japan, and Russia
Wow.
all on the show in one shot.
That's cool.
It's going to be an awesome show. We'll be in the new studio. And, of course, our Halloween special coming up. And we'll have Corey and Daniel from Tackle Warehouse with us for a Halloween special. Also, if fans are watching, hit us up on our social media. Give us ideas for our Halloween
I
costumes
already
this year.
know what Pete's is.
Oh, you got it? What is it? Black Senko.
Boom.
Boom. There you go.
100%.
That'd be an easy one to create, though. Wrap yourself in a black electrical tape. Just
That's it, Pete.
depending on how you're rigged, you can move different. You can do the little shimmy. If you're Nico rigged, you can just hop.
Or maybe an Ica.
You could be an Ica.
It's good. It's good bait.
Thank you for watching tonight. Thank you, Kurt Dove. Awesome show tonight. Appreciate everybody. Thanks for watching
Thanks,
tonight.
guys.
We'll see you.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. Good night.